questions.
Well, I'd like to start just by saying, as a program and in the ACC, but just a program in general, I want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the UVA community, to our colleagues, and to their students, student athletes, their families. It's terrible news and a tragedy. Football and coaching is a brotherhood, and we definitely are here alongside them and support them and suffer with them. And it doesn't feel like we should be talking about football with what's going on up there. It's tough. So really, really challenging situation for their school and hateful people. Just a lot of evil out there, and I hope everybody can pray for them and help them through this. So with that, I guess I'll talk about our game. We just had a tough loss, to say the least, really hard one to swallow. In general, it's kind of two separate halves when you look at how it went down. But we started fast, scoring 14 points in the first quarter, which was what we wanted to do, to try to get out on a team that had a young quarterback. After those two drives, we had a hard time scoring. There's a variety of reasons for that. Usually drives end because of lack of execution, penalties, creating tough down and distances to call plays, or because some players on their side of the ball made some good plays. And I think we had all of those things happen. The best thing Boston College was defensively was a third down defense. They were very good, and we presented that to them a lot. And that's hard with a freshman quarterback to be in third and extra long. I thought our defense did a good job of keeping us in the game and battling, held them to -4 yards rushing. We turned the ball over 3 times in the second half before the final play. And on all 3 of those turnovers, we responded by not allowing points on defense. And that's tremendous response by those guys. I thought they pressured the quarterback. And in a game like that, it came down to the final drive, and 4th and 7, they get in the red zone, and the play that they ran, we practiced all week. Drake Thomas made the play in practice all week. He knew the play that was coming, and I thought he made a terrific play. Timing, broke on the football, had both hands extended. I thought he beat the receiver to the spot, and he did everything that we could ask him to do. I'm really proud of him for making that play. And, at the end of that play, we should have been out there on offense, kneeling the ball down for a win, but that's not how it ended. And so it is what it is, which makes it hard to swallow, and like I told my team after the game, I hurt for our senior class that they didn't get the satisfaction of that. When you're playing with a freshman quarterback and you're missing several players with injuries, and it comes down to one play in a game, and you have a great player like Drake and he makes the play, man, that's how you should win. And you can call it an ugly win. I'll take it all day long, man. But we didn't get it. So it's back to the drawing board and get ready for another one. I love our players. I love how they compete. Can we do things better? Can we coach better? Can we play better? Can we make fewer mistakes? Of course we can. And that'll be our emphasis as we move forward. I thought our special teams were terrific. Caden Newcaster continues to impress us as a punter. Keon Lassane and Daryl Jones as gunners on those units. Keon forced a fumble and created a huge play. Our defense also had 2 takeaways, 2 great interceptions. Chris Dunn set a record in the ACC with being perfect again in a game, and give Boston College credit. Zay Flowers is a special football player. I mean, he's electric, and, obviously we knew where he was, and he still made plays. And they battled back. And so you have to give them credit for that. On to our next game with Louisville. They've won 4 of their last 5. We get to come down there and play on senior day against them. And it's really 2 very similar defenses, very aggressive defenses head to head. They've forced a lot of turnovers. As you know, they forced 8 against Wake. they bring a lot of pressure. They're coached well, they're aggressive, and they have good players. On offense, Scott's always been a balanced offensive coach, has good run game, a lot of outside zone, play actions, nakeds. We'll have a couple trick plays, has very good personnel in the backfield. His tailbacks are hard runners. His receivers has a variety of guys at the receiver position, big, small, fast. Their tight ends are good players and experienced players, and their line's athletic. So look forward to another, talented team and a chance to compete, and a road game at that. And look forward to that opportunity with our players, and 2 games here in 11 or 12 days, whatever that is. So got a lot on our plate, and in light of what's going on regionally in our conference, it's hard to focus on it, to be honest. So there's a lot going on right now, but that's the world we're in. Questions?
David?
Dave, you mentioned that it is tough to focus on football today. How do you address this topic and this tragedy with your team? And is this something you bring up today and explore with each other?
Well, I won't have them today. Today's our day off. I will have them in the morning, and we will discuss it. And like everything that happens, I think being transparent, talking from my heart, letting them talk from theirs, and be in it together.
Chip?
Yeah, Dave, I think we all feel the same way you do about the Virginia situation. It was quite a tragedy. Let me ask you one thing about a coaching situation. A lot goes into a coaching job, but it seems like picking a team up after a really tough loss might be one of the toughest things you have to do. How did you go about handling that and getting them focused on the next task?
Well, similar. I just spoke from the heart. I told them I was in a lot of pain too. I felt for them. I felt like we were robbed in the moment because we made the play, and what I thought was a great play, and still do. And human errors are going to occur. None of us are perfect, and told them that they had to accept it and flush it and move on. And the only way we could become whole again as a team is to fill the cup back up with emotion and go compete again and win. And we still have opportunities in front of us that allow us to have, albeit not the season we thought at the beginning with what we've dealt with, we could have a great season here still, and the guys all understand that. And so I think just being honest with them, not trying to sugarcoat anything, and letting them talk as well, letting them, say how they feel, and did that with the leadership council. And then I know in their position rooms, those guys always talk about things that way.
Todd?
Yeah, Dave, is this maybe a good time to go on the road? Gives the guys a chance to kind of circle the wagons and us against them and a world mentality. Is it a good time to maybe hit the road? Yeah,
it might be. I think it's a good time just to get back to playing, whether we're home or away. But yeah, it might be. I think these guys just like playing together. And that's, one of the messages. Like, let's enjoy these next 3 games, these next 2 and 12 days. Let's enjoy the ride. Like, it's things happen. It's bigger than wins and losses when you talk about the brotherhood you have with each other, and, the time you get to spend with each other, the stories you have with each other. And so, I don't want to lose sight of that because of how something ended. And you have to remind them of that.
David?
Dave, you mentioned on Saturday that you felt like you guys didn't coach well enough to win. Have you had a little more time to diagnose the specifics of that statement?
Well, I think I'm always going to take the blame. I mean, I'm ultimately the head of everything that happens here. And so anytime you watch the game in your room, and I stay up all night, after a loss, you're like, what could I have done? What things, of course, there's calls, but you don't get that. You don't get it in life either, you just don't, but you can learn from it. And I think that's the biggest thing, hey, could we have blitzed or not blitzed? Should we have ran this play instead of that play? Of course, there's always those, but we don't get the luxury of hitting rewind and having a do-over, At the end of the day, everything we did led us to one play to win it, and we made the play. Right? We did. You guys all saw it. So, yeah, could we have eliminated that from happening on 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line? Could we have gotten in the end zone? I thought we called a good play, and we didn't block it well. And it's a play that should have scored because we had enough blockers at the point of attack. Could we have called another play? Sure, we could have. And we still would have had to have blocked it well. And maybe we would have, maybe we wouldn't have. On that particular play, their nose guard won on that play, and that's football. Sometimes you go up and you make a play and sometimes you don't. And say the same thing about last year, I mean, there were some times where Emeka just made some plays that most people probably wouldn't have made that won games for us, If he dropped it, would it have been a bad call? No. He made the play. And at the end of it, you have to coach the guys to do the best they can. And as coaches, you do the best you can. And second guessing yourself doesn't make the play different. You just learn from it. What else could I have done? And we do that every week, every play, whether you guys believe that or not. Like we really, really sit in here and think about everything that we do. And we're not perfect, but these kids play really hard for us and we're doing everything we can to help them.
James?
Dave, I know you've talked a lot about first couple of games with MJ, him taking care of the football. When you were looking back at the mistakes or the turnovers from this past game, were they self-inflicted by him? Was it from the defense? What'd you see on those three?
Yeah, I think, maybe when you get a true freshman in the game that hadn't played as much, maybe those could have happened earlier. Maybe the fact that he didn't have a mistake like that until this game made the expectations too high. I don't know.
Right.
I think he tried to make a play on one of them. We're running a read play and he saw the end. He thought he'd outrun him, even though, in retrospect, I'm sure he'd say he should have handed it, but he's a player trying to make a play. Running back had the ball, in his belly and it just didn't get pulled out the right way and went right to him. Right. On another one, he underthrew a ball. Of course, he could throw a better pass there. That's going to happen from time to time. So he made some mistakes that, like I told him, like, you're human too. You're going to learn from the things that you did and you're going to get better because of it. Like, we don't expect him to be perfect. But anytime any player, freshman up to senior, makes a mistake, you're going to evaluate it. You're going to try to help them through it. And all you ask is that they learn from it.
And just to follow up, I know it's early in the week. You had a couple guys go out in this game. Trent, Grant, any updates on any of them?
No, it's too early to say on that.
Thanks.
Brian?
Yeah, Coach. I wondered if you'd heard from the ACC about your comments on that call, or if you guys had conversely sent some tape to the league office about it.
Yeah, I can't comment on any responses I get. We always send in the calls that we're not happy with every week, and then they respond, whether they thought it was a good call or a bad call. And then as a coach, I'm not allowed to make that public. So you guys know the rules on that.
I also wondered late in the game, obviously the offense was struggling. Did you think at all about going to Jack to maybe get his running ability in there, some more QB run?
No.
Thanks.
Chip?
Yeah, Dave, one thing, looking ahead to next week, just for a second, Mac Brown said today that both you and he lobbied the ACC not to play that game on a Friday so as not to interfere with the high school playoffs. Did you do that? And could you just explain a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, the High School Coaches Association in the state of North Carolina has made it very apparent that they don't like any of our colleges playing on Friday nights, that's, a high school football night. And we agree with that, but that's above our decision making. Obviously, that's part of the television contract that we're in. And it'd be great if it wasn't a Friday game for those reasons, but it's one of those things that I don't control, Mac doesn't control, and obviously neither of us like it, but it doesn't matter.
Is there anything else for Coach? All right, everybody.
Thank you all.